Hello there. Welcome aboard the 757 Spy Flight Deck. I hope you are doing well today. Thank you for coming by. Well, as you saw from the titles, let's talk about that really nice Boeing 747. It came out recently from Felis. I hope I'm saying that name right. Felis, and Felis is I hear the developer who put in literally years in making this airplane. The to-do list on this airplane is long, so to get this airplane out of the gate takes me right around 30 to 40 minutes. So there is an awful lot to do here. And let's see here. Let's talk a little bit about the flight that we're going to do today. Let's see. Where is it? There's the right button. So today's flight, I'm flying as United Flight 441 from Chicago O'Hare to Washington Dulles International Airport. Departure time, 1:35 p.m. Central Time. We should be on the ground and at the gate at Washington at 4:20 Eastern Time. Time is important on this one because one of the things is this is the kind of airplane that you would take on across the pond VATSIM type event, and on across the pond and across the land, your departure time is important. So my departure time is kind of important on this one. We're departing from gate Bravo 17, and we'll be going to Charlie 1 when we finally get into Washington, D.C. Add-ons that I'm using, SimToolkit Pro and SimBrief, Navigraph Data and Charts, Better Pushback, Active Sky, and the SAM Scenery Manager. So before we take off, I'll tell you, I'm going to keep this super simple here. I am going to be using the INS, sometimes known as the SIVA system. I think technically it's INS on the 747. So we're not doing any kind of flight management computer. This is the old school way to do this. But there are some super duper deep rabbit holes for us to jump down. We'll jump down a few of them, just not all of them. And most important, this is not about being the right way or the wrong way. These are the kinds of things that work for me. And my goal today is to help you take the airplane, push back from the gate, start the engines, take off, cruise, land, and get to the gate in a flight simulator environment. Down the road, you can jump down all the extra real-world rabbit holes that you want to. So if you have, this is the first time you've ever done a cold and dark with me, it's really simple. Hit pause on the YouTube video right now and go fire up the airplane. Put it at the gate. I showed you the flight plan, Chicago to Washington. Put it at Chicago and fly along with me. Set up a flight plan too over on SimToolkit Pro. And then you can pause and restart the video so that you can fly along. And also, I like to suggest that you keep a notepad open too. This is a complex airplane. These are my notes for the 747-200, and you will see they are very long. So you're going to want to take some notes on this airplane as well. So pause and restart the video, or rewind it a little bit if I've gone by something a little bit too quickly. And then after all of that, it'd be fun if you could join us on the Spy Flight over on Twitch, because we'll be flying this a couple times in the weeks ahead. More than a few times. This airplane is that big of a challenge. More stuff about the flight plan. Chicago to Washington Dulles, going to be taken off on runway 28 right. My cruise altitude for this flight's 35,000 feet. Those are the checkpoints that we've got for the flight plan. This is the standard one that SimBrief seems to be putting out. And no, we're not using those are the checkpoints. You got to get the latitudes and longitudes off of your flight plan. Let's see. KIAD. Oh, you know what? I was over here showing you my list of things, and it was on my main screen. I didn't even realize it wasn't up. I will show you that in a second. Landing Washington Dulles, 01 right. Right now the winds are 030 at 7 at Dulles, so that's a good landing runway. Flight time, 1 hour and 20 minutes. Distance is going to be 583 nautical miles. Our cruise should be somewhere around Mach point 85. So now then, let me show you. This is what I was talking about. Thank goodness for the cough switch. These are my flight notes. So this is what it is that I was talking about and you couldn't see. These are all of my flight notes here. So you need to have something like that. Another little secret that I want to pass along to you right now about this airplane. So this is the flight plan that I get. We're on page 11 right now. And this is the standard United Airlines 2018 format of the flight plan that you can get. And so one of the things is it gives you, so here's our first checkpoint in the sky, mobile. Mobile is our first checkpoint in the sky. And you see it's got the latitude and longitude. This is what we're going to be entering into the INS. And then here's the next one for Adam and OTANs. They're all really kind of spread out a little bit. And, it also kind of helps if we could number these waypoints as well. And you'll see why when we get into the airplane. So the thing is what I've gone and done is I've created another notepad. And this is actually not my idea. This idea is another live streamer. Agent Bravo 7 does this when Agent is doing a flight with an INS or a flight with a SIVA. And that is to take each of the waypoints and do a direct copy paste of the latitude and longitude, copy paste it and put it into a nice little orderly list like this. Then when you go to put them in, the slider bar on Notepad, you go and you put in checkpoint number 1, and then you slide it down 1 click, and then do number 2. Keep your next waypoint right here at the top. That is going to help you keep all of those numbers straight, because let me tell you something, it is very, very, very easy to get all tangled up in putting all these things in. So here we are. It is now basically about an hour before departure time. If you recognize this, we are in Chicago O'Hare. This is the Bravo Concourse. As we walk down the, whoops, let's do this the other way. Hang on, let's do it the slow way now. Okay, so let's see. Maybe it's Control does it slowly. Which one does it slower? Nope, that's fast. Is it Control? Yeah, it's Control. Okay, I have to remind myself how to control it. So sorry if I made you sick there. So here we are. We're in the center area here. So as we move forward just a little bit, those are the escalators. So that's how you go down to the underground corridor that takes you out to the Charlie area. But we're going down to where they park the very, very big jets here at Chicago O'Hare, and that's down at the west end of the Bravo Concourse. So that's where we're going right now. Going to Bravo 17 is this, and so we got to go past a couple of these gates. There's a nice little, some nice windows. This is, I believe this is the Nimbus software, the Nimbus airport. You can see there's a nice departure gate there. So this is the Nimbus stuff here. And I got to tell you, I think they did an absolutely fantastic job on this scenery. The only thing they didn't put in is the dinosaurs. And do you happen to notice our 747 here as we come to the end in the waiting area? So let's see, let's continue to go through the waiting area. And there is our 747 right there. There we go. Whoops. There we go. 747. I've already got gate Bravo 17 already connected to the airplane. So this is the point where the pilots have got to start walking down the jetway here. And we got to go out here and go over here like this, and there's the door. The doors don't open on this airplane yet. The developer, Felis, is planning on opening the door here, on making these doors operate. One polite suggestion, would they please activate the second door on this airplane, because a lot of the airports where they would take this airplane are going to have 2 jetways, so you can get the passengers on and off faster. So there's the second one for Bravo 17, so that would be really cool if they do that. And so then we'll go through the door, and there is the stairway. So we can go upstairs, and then we can go into the best seat in the house. This really is a fabulous airplane. They've done such a great job with this airplane. The door's closed right now. There's the flight engineer panel, and there is everything. And then as you look out the window, you can see the really nice scenery there. So here we are. The only things that I've done to this airplane so far is I put the chocks in place, and I have a jetway in place, and that's it. Flight planning is done. Did all the things that the pilots would have done in the pilot's lounge, the pilot's office. It's probably not a lounge, before takeoff. So we've gone and done all of our flight planning. Looks like we got some weather coming into the Chicagoland area, but we're going to be out of here before the airplane gets wet. I've also gone and gotten all of my charts for today's flight. So we've got this one right here. There is this chart. We are at Chicago here. There we are. Bravo 17, there is our gate at the end of Terminal 1 here. So there is that gate. After we blast off out of here, we're going to be pushing back onto the Gulf taxiway, taking the Bravo taxiway all the way around here to Lima Lima to November Yankee, and that's 28 right for our departure. Departure is going to be the O'Hare 5 departure. So we'll take off. We'll probably do a little loop-de-loop and go to the north and then come down here to Mobile. And so it's going to be RNAV to Mobile. After we blast off. Coming on into the Washington Dulles area, we've got the Gibbs 4 arrival. We're going to come up here. Try and keep an eye on your constraints. You actually have to do these by yourself. The airplane, I don't think, does any kind of constraints, at least not that I've found. So you need to be at your altitudes on this. Then we've got an ILS and localizer set up for runway 01 right. And there's 01 right, probably going to get the Kilo 4 or Kilo 2 high-speed taxiway once we land. And then over here in Dulles, United parked the very big jets, and they still do. They park the big jets down here at the far end here. So we're going to go for Charlie 1 for our gate. So there is basically the flight briefed as far as Navigraph is concerned. I'm using SimToolkit Pro. SimToolkit Pro is free. It connects to your Navigraph slash SimBrief account, and that makes flight planning and really, really nice. So let's see. All of this is good. Now then, another safety tip for you. And this is for sim pilots. Okay, the real pilots will do this eventually too, and we'll do that. But sim pilots, I've got an unusual name for it, but whenever you sit down to do a flight plan and in a jet where you're going to spend more than 5 minutes trying to set up your cockpit and stuff, do what I call jiggle the controls. So this is my cockpit controls that I have. This is my Thrustmaster Airbus stick. Move it. Make sure it works. Do the same thing with your rudder pedals. Move it. Make sure it works. Make sure that you can move the hat switch around. Run your throttles forward. Make sure your reversers work. All of this is really, really important. Make sure your speed brake levers work too. That is an important thing to do because we're going to spend 40 minutes setting up this cockpit. And if I get out on the runway and find that for some reason my controls are not connected, I'm going to be annoyed, and you would be too. So that's why I like to suggest that you, and again, it's a goofy, stupid name, but goofy, stupid names help us remember things. So let's go ahead and jiggle the controls. Okay, so show and hide the yokes. The yokes are nice, but they're just going to be in the way. So I recommend doing that. And let's go ahead and have a look over here. It is 17:53. We need to be pushing back from the gate around 18:35. So we got plenty of time to set this up. I do have chocks in place. We're now going to connect the ground power cart. So ground power cart is up there, is being connected. While that's going on, let's go back to the flight engineer and let's start pushing buttons. So this is the point where if your airplane is not cold and dark and ready to go with those three things done, stop the video and then start when you're ready to go. And here we are. First step in the process. This is the on switch for a 747. It's the battery switch. Battery is on and guarded. So that's good to go too. Ground power voltage. We do have ground power plugged into the airplane. So look over here and look at the external power. Do we have voltage? Do we have the correct frequency? And look at both of those. And yes, both of these are good to go. So with both of those good to go, we'll look up here. And this is going to be the upper left part. And you can see we actually have external power 1 and 2 are ready to go. Let's go ahead and close external power 1, close external power 2, and now we are connected to the ground power. So we've got that going on. Those are good to go. Now there's a system here, Keyvars. I've forgotten what it's called. Some of the videos that I watched on Keyvars said you go to manual on first, and then you look here and make sure that everything appears to be good and smoke isn't coming out the back of the airplane. If that's okay, then you can go, and from here, you would then go off and normal. So manual on and then normal for the standby power system. I don't quite remember exactly why, but that's what you would do. The next thing we're going to do is go up here to the recirculating fan, and we're going to turn on zone 1. Zone 1 is what we're going to need to keep air kind of recirculating up here. It's in case the co-pilot went to Taco Bell. And there's my last bad joke well, no, it won't be my last bad joke. Next thing we're going to do is let's go ahead and do equipment cooling. So equipment cooling, we go and we test this equipment cooling button, and that looks good. We're also going to test the blower selector. So we're going to go ahead and test equipment cooling and blower selectors, and those are good to go there. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to kind of come down here. And there's a switch down here, and this is the independent light switch. So let's go test, and then go zoom out and look at all of your lights, and all the lights should be on. Once that's there, put it back to bright, and turn up the panel lights, and turn up the background lighting. And so there you go with all of that. And so that takes care of the initial flight engineer panel setup. And there's a lot of little setups here. The next one is we're going to go to the initial upper panel setup. The panel lights, let's do the main panel background. Let's turn up the overhead lighting. We don't need dome lighting. This is a daylight flight, so that's good. Let's do navigation lights and logo lights. We got to get those things in there. Emergency exit lights goes to armed and guarded, so that's good. INS number 1, align. INS number 2, align. INS number 3, all 3 to align. Radio master essentials and the number 2 bus go on here. So now the radio is on, and all of that's good to go, and our airplane is slowly coming to life here. So the next thing we need to do is go over here to the to the EFB, and we're going to hit the INS button. This is the INS tool. And we're not going to do any of these things here, except we're going to note this thing here. This is our current position at the airport. Real pilots, they're going to get their current position off of their charts. We're just going to go ahead and use this one. And so it's time for us to go down to the INS, and we're going to dial this over to position. So over here at position, and we're going to put in our north 4158.9. So north, and I've already forgotten it. You will too. 41589. 41589. And insert. The next one is going to be west 87544. 87544. I do recommend that you say it out loud as you're reading it off and then entering it. That kind of helps put it in short-term memory, and you're going to need that. Now, we're not done, I'm afraid. So after this, we're going to go ahead and zoom out a little bit and slide over here, because now we got to do the first officers. So big switch over to position, north, and read off this one, 41589. 41589. Insert. And then we're going to do west. 87544. 87544. And I'm also taking a look at these as I enter these in. Okay, we're good to go there. Now then, let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit more and tilt down a bit, because we got to do it one last time down here. So dial this over to pause, position, and then read it off of this one, 41589. North, 41589. Insert. West, 87544. 87544. Insert. Okay, we got those 3 done. All of them match. Now go ahead and with this thing, let's dial this over. Let's dial this down to status. We care about the DS track and status. This is what we really want to see, is that 85. Let's go ahead and DSRTK and see an 85 over there. And we want to do the same thing here. DSRTK 85. If we get those 85s in those 3, that means that things are aligning and things are in relatively good shape. So that's good to go there. We got more work to do. Let's go up here to the upper panel, and we're going to start and just do a few upper panel setup things again. First things first, anti-skid, on and guarded, body ground steering, armed and unguarded. So we got to do those things. Slide up over here, Next thing to do is no smoking. Got to get no smoking ready to go. Now we're going to keep going up. Let's do the stall warning test. Stall warning is good. Let's do the over rotation test. Good. Let's do the Mach AS warning test. And that's good. Now we're going to go down here. Let's start heating up the windshield. 1, 2, 3, 4. Windshield heat is on. The compass is, there's a note here to ensure that compass is always in the slave position. Yes, this has become a master and slave kind of a thing. Sorry. Bad joke popped out again. It's going to happen. I found that this thing is always in slave mode. It was just a check that I saw from the manuals that came with this, and some other pilots that I've watched are doing this. So compass, both in slave position, move up here. Wheel well fire detection, and there's the wheel well fire detection, and that takes care of those. Now we got to go ahead and do the pilot's panel setup. Pilot panel time. So first thing we're going to do is let's adjust the lights. So pilot panel lights, we've also got lighting here and lighting here. Even if you're flying in the daylight, I really like to suggest set up these little lights. It just makes it so much easier for stuff to see. Now that we've done that, we got to go down here and kind of look at some stuff that's kind of hidden underneath this. First of all, let's do the instrument warning test. And if you look over here, you'll see the instrument warning lights go on. There they go. Those worked. Now we're going to do the maximum indicator reset. That just resets all of our max indicator readouts. We're going to do the altitude alert test. We're going to do ground proximity. It gets obnoxious.
Pull up. Glide slope. Glide slope.
Okay, that's good. And then we'll do the rudder ratio test. And rudder ratio is going to light up down here. And so that takes care of all of those little tests there. Now we're going to look down here at the center console, do the console stand panel and the center forward panel lighting. So we've got those turned up. That looks pretty good. Let's do weather radar to standby, and the transponder goes to transponder. And so there is the pilot's panel setup. So there we go there. Not bad. We're in pretty good shape here. This is a good time. If I've gotten a little ahead of you, pause the video, roll it back, and catch up. Or mustard if that's what you want. Yep, another bad joke just leaked out. That's going to happen. All right, let's go ahead and do some flight engineer stuff. So up here, we got to go and look up like this, and then tilt up, and we're going to start messing around with the APU. So APU fire test. First thing we're going to do is the squib test. Squib test. That seems to be working. Let's do Fire System A test. Fire System A looks good. How about B? Fire System B looks good. Let's do the fault tests. The light goes on. Fault test. Light goes on. And now if you click in between the middle A and B, that does a full system test, and that's good to go. With those three done, let's go ahead and start the APU. The starter is right here. You're going to want to go and click the button and hold it and count to 3. 1, 2, 3. The light goes out. Release. And now we should keep an eye out for the EGT and the RPM to start rising. Now you can watch these instruments, or you can go outside the airplane and you can hear the APU start up out there. So that's kind of one of the fun things that we get to do with the APU on this airplane. So all of that is looking really, really good. And then we'll kind of look up here again, and let's see here. APU looks like it's all nicely set up, so all of that's good. So let's see. What we're going to do now is we're going to do APU generator, and we're going to kind of put this, there's two on switches here. We're going to go and put these on and turn off the field lights. Now we're going to look down here, and we're going to look at APU generator 1. And APU generator 2, make sure that the volts and the frequency are both correct. If that's good to go, then that means that the APU is ready to take the electric load. So we're going to go ahead and close ground services and close this other one too. That has just disconnected us from ground power, and now the airplane is supplying its own power here. So with all of that's good to go, we can go over here, and we're going to go over to the iPad, go to ground, and we're going to disconnect ground power.
Disconnect ground power.
Okay, so we got that, and we've disconnected the ground power. Now I'm looking down here, and I'm making sure that these numbers are going down. These numbers are going down, 75, 75.
Disconnected.
So those are going down. That means that we are aligning. And it takes a little bit of time, but fortunately we've got a lot of stuff to do. So now that we're done with that, let's go back up into this area here, and we're going to tilt up, and we're going to turn on some stuff here. So after this, let's do the galley power bus. Bus 1, 2, 3, 4. Got to turn on the power for the galleys. So those are good. Galley and lav fan. Yeah, we're going to put that on auto right now in case, somebody does something in the bathroom. Okay, then we're going to put the generator mode, and it says to put it in override. So we're going to put it in override mode, and then we're going to look down here, and we're going to go galley chillers. That's the refrigerator, so we got to cool off all the beer. So there's the galley chillers. So those are good to go. Now then, we're going to come on down here, and it's time to start doing some pack stuff. So let's first of all do the pack isolation valves, and we're going to turn these up. Pack isolation valves are up. The APU is going to go up like this. And now we can come up here, and remember the APU bleed, which was next to the start. So bleed air on. And then we'll look back down here. I'm starting to hear stuff blowing around a little bit. So the APU bleed is on. Let's do the pack isolation valves open. Look at that. There's the left one. Now all of a sudden we have duct pressure. That's basically air that's blowing through all of the ducts in the airplane. So we're going to turn both of those on. And now we're going to do the pack control switches to this one's on auto. Let's do the rest of the engines. So let's get all of these in, and then we're going to turn this one on too. And there is all of our engine stuff, all of our packs, engine stuff. I need more coffee. Okay, now that we're done with this, let's go and do some more things. We're going to do trim air. So trim air goes on. That looks pretty good. Now that we've got air blowing through the airplane, let's get the recirculating fans on throughout the rest of the airplane. Supplemental vent fan, we're going to turn that on as well. And now we got to look down here, and we're going to set our cabin altitude. This is pressurization, and we're going to dial this up. Our final cruising altitude is going to be 35,000 feet. Now, from what I've seen, other people, they say set at 35,000 feet and then add 1,000. So we're going to actually set this to 36,000 feet. We'll also set the baro to 2992, so we're good to go there. And all of that is looking good. Now it's time to do some other stuff. We got to start doing some passenger things. We got a lot of passengers to load. So come on over here, and we're going to go to the load calculator. Okay, first thing to do, destination distance. Let's go ahead. Actually, I'm going to try something different this time. So over on the flight plan, if you look up here, you've got something called the zero fuel weight, and mine says 474,235 pounds. So if you look here, there is my zero fuel weight. It's 485. So we've got to go and move some people around, move some of these numbers around, because we want this to equal what we got from the flight plan. So first of all, upper deck cabin. Okay, those are premium seats. They're going to fill every one of those with passengers, right? First class cabin, we're going to fill all of our first and business class seats too. So let's just max those out right now. So now our zero fuel weight is 48.8. So now what we're going to do is let's drop this thing down a little bit. Let's drop this thing down to about 7,000 pounds of cargo. What are we doing there? Now our zero fuel weight is 479. Let's cut back the number of passengers just a little bit. So let's drop this down to about 90. What are we looking at there? 475. Let's drop this down to about 60. Now this is where you just go and you start adding numbers. You just start adding and subtracting. Zero fuel weight is 469. Oh, 474. We took too many passengers out. Let's add a little bit of cargo here. Let's make this about 8,600. Now let's add a few passengers here in the back cargo. Okay, now our zero freight's 472. We need to make it 474. So let's add a few more up there. There is 473. 473. There's 474. It needs to be 4 up. We're right on. So now this is how you get that number to equal, up it says 475. I put in a few too many. 474.2. 474.3. That's perfect. That's as close as, you don't have to be exact. So now let's go up here to our destination distance. And remember, we got that from the flight plan. It's 583, so let's make it 600. Flight level is flight level 350. So all of this is good. We could also put in the distance to our alternate. I didn't get that piece of information, so I'm a bad pilot there. So now this number, 0 fuel weight, is pretty good. This destination distance and desired flight level, that's pretty good too. Let's go now out of here, and we're going to go to refueling. And right now there's 185,000 pounds of fuel in this airplane. Well, SimBrief says we need 65,000 pounds. So what we're going to do is we're going to start, and with your scroll wheel, just start dialing this down so the total fuel now goes down to your fuel needed, 65,358. So 65,5. That's pretty close. Now, I am one of those pilots that wants to add a little bit more. So I'm going to go and now kick this up, 65. Let's do 665. There's 66509. I'm going to do one more, 67. I've just added a little bit of fuel just because. It's always good for a pilot, for a sim pilot, especially if you're going to start flying on VATSIM and doing some long hauls. You don't want to run out of fuel. So basically, they're going to drain some fuel to get us to 67,508. That's more than we need. That's 2,000 more. So we're going to call the tanker and add and drain that amount of fuel. And they're going to start. The tanker's going to do that. Now let's go to payload. Look at your 0 fuel weight. 3876. Oh, that's not right. You need to hit load sheet data. Click that button, and now 0 fuel. Up 474.3. There you go. That looks right. So that looks good. Let's go ahead and now board the passengers and load the cargo. And if you go outside the airplane, when you hit load, one of the animations that they have is now they're all of a sudden opening up the cargo bays. So the cargo bays are opening up. They are loading up our cargo. How about that? Cargo is loading. So there we go. That's good news. Quick time check. It is now 13 minutes after the hour. We have a little less than 30 minutes before we can go and before we need to be pushing back. I'm going to clear this warning. I'll bet there's one over here with the co-pilot. Let's look and see. Yeah, let's clear that. Okay, so let's look up here and see. Do we have green lights? We do. If it seems like I was going slow, we got to wait until we get green lights up here. So now that we've got these green lights and stuff like that, we can go ahead and put this into navigation mode. Well, wait a minute. Let's not do that. Let me look down here. Up says 55. I don't think we ought to do that yet. So let's go ahead and turn this into remote. I think you're supposed to do the green lights. You have to wait until the green lights are on, and then you can start entering waypoints. So we're going to put both the pilot and the co-pilot into remote mode. Let's also put the third one in remote mode too. Remote. All right, so we're good to go there. And now with that in place, we're going to go ahead and start jumping down a rabbit hole of numbers that is going to drive you nuts. So first of all, take this, and we're going to dial this to waypoint. And now we're going to dial this little thumb wheel to number 1. Remember this little thing that I was showing you earlier, this guy right here? Okay, this little thing right here, these are all the waypoints that we have to enter. Now, we can only enter them 9 at a time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter in this number here at the top, and then I'm going to go ahead and just do the next 9. So I'm going to slide something over here for a second. Let's slide this. So this is going to go right off of this window, right over here. And now let's put in the top number. North 41567. 41567. 41567. Insert. West. Look at your number. 87038. 87038. 87038. Insert. Read it out loud like that. Okay, your family's going to think you're crazy, but they think flight simmers are crazy anyway, right? Read it out loud. That way you have a better chance of getting these numbers in. And getting these numbers in correctly is important, because I didn't do the first time I did this. I just kind of put them in and didn't pay much attention. Well, I got them in wrong, and the INS almost flew the airplane into Pikes Peak, Colorado. So you've got to make sure these are right. Okay, so now that we got the first one in, let's go ahead and grab the slider bar and move it down just one click to number 2. And then you go over here, and I'm going to slide this off to the side to the other window and slide the thumb wheel over there into number 2. And let's just read them off. So we got 8 more to do. North, 41574, 41574, 41574, insert. West, 86129, 86129, 86129, insert. 3, over here, one click, 3, slide it over. Yeah, I'm sliding them back and forth so that you can see what I'm doing. This is number 3, O10s, north, 4140, 4140, 4140.0, insert. West, 84470, 84470, 84470, insert. Number 4, I'm not going to make you watch me slide the notepad down anymore. North, 41367, 41367, 41367, insert. West, 83363, 83363, 83363, insert. Number 5, slide your pointer down. North, 41230, 41230, 41230, insert. West, 82362, 82362, 82362, insert. Next waypoint, number 6. North, 40020, 40020, 40020, insert. West, 80490, 80490, 80490. Number 7. Number 7. North, 39334, 39334. Insert. West, 79516, 79516, 79516. Insert. One more. Brandon, north, 39298, 39298, 39298. West, 79318, 79318, 318. Insert. Last one. North, 39285, 39285, 39285, and insert. West, 79245, 79245. Insert. Go back. If you did it right, now the real pilots are going to go and check through all of these. I'm pretty confident I did okay. So let's go over here and put this back onto status. We're 05. That is good news. Let's look over here. It's 05. Let's go over here to waypoint and look at 1. Our waypoints look good. There we go. I think that's fine. So that looks pretty good. Let's put this one on wind. Okay, let's go over to this one. We're going to put this one on distance and time. And we'll look down here at this one, and this one we'll just leave on this one here. Okay, so we're going to keep this because we've got to enter more waypoints once we get in the air. So I'm going to slide this over there. I'm going to get my notes back in front of me. There's my notes. I'm going to put these back here. Okay, so all of our waypoints are in there, and that looks good. So we are doing good. Let's go over here, and with green lights and the numbers now down there on the status are 5. Excuse me. Let's go to nav, and nav, and nav. And I'm guessing everything's going to be good here. Waypoint. Yep, I think we're fine. So let's go and do our altimeters. Altimeters here at Chicago here are 29.73. So altimeters for departure, 2973. Low pressure. I'm guessing that's because they got a little weather system coming in, probably a cold front. And do your backup altimeter, 29.73. There we go. Altimeters are good. Okay, radar is standby. Squawk code, we're going to go 2000. Transponder is still set to transponder. Auto throttle mode is going to EPR now. EPR, that's good. This is going to now go to GA. That's good. Beacon light. Let's go and move the beacon light to on. This is just for this checklist. That's good. And now we're going to run the takeoff all the way forward. There is the throttles full forward and back. That looks good. And now let's see what it is that I might have missed. Passengers and crew are on board. So let's go over here and go to checklists, before start, and pilots. This is
checklist, please.
all the little checks that I was doing. Got to do this now.
Down and check. Brakes.
Parked.
Start levers. Off. Radios. On and check. Flight control hydraulic power.
Seatbelts.
On. INS. Check and nav. Compasses. Slaved. Window heat. On. Seatbelts and no smoking. On. Emergency lights. Armed. Exterior lights. Check. Flight instruments. Check. Altimeters and clocks. 1006 set and cross check. Radio INS switches. Radio.
Jetway's going away.
Transponder. Standby. Indicator lights. Check. Engine and wing anti-ice. Off. Stall warning. Check. Mach airspeed warning. Check. Auto brakes. Check and off. Body gear steering. Arm. Anti-skid. On. Autopilot and flight director. Check and off.
I'm pressurizing the
Takeoff warning.
brakes.
Check. Auto flight enunciators. Check. GPWS.
Check.
Check. Instrument warning.
Good.
Check. Flight director computer selectors.
Good.
Check. Instrument source selectors. Normal.
Not
Reserve
abnormal,
brake valve.
normal.
Closed. Spoilers. Down. Static selectors. Normal. Oxygen mask and regulator. Check and emergency off. Brake pressure. Check. Stabilizer trim. Check and on. Rudder and aileron trim. Check.
If you
Checklist completed.
if you don't have any of these right, that checklist is going to blow up in your. It won't blow up, but it will say, hold on, or damn, messed that up. So you got to have all of those things done. Otherwise, you're not going to proceed in the checklist. Let's go ahead and do plugins and better pushback. And let's go ahead and get our pushback truck hooked up.
Cockpit, please. Please show me where you want to go.
John Fly doing our pushback today. So I'm going to go ahead and push us back a little bit here. And let's go ahead and have it spin us. And we're going to just push ourselves back onto the active taxiway here. And so that looks good. Now, what I'm going to do is we're going to go and click it. And then you need to move this forward a little bit.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
We're not going to push back or anything, but it's time to get the truck ready to go. And now we're going to do the before start for the flight engineer.
Battery.
On.
APU panel. Check. Auxiliary power. Check. Engine oil quantity. Check. Fuel quantity. 6,7,4,4,9 pounds. Fuel panel. Let's see.
Fuel panel. I bet they want us to turn on the pumps.
Check and set.
There we go.
Pressurization controls. Check and set.
Okay, all doors
Bleed
and
control.
hatches are closed. Ready to
Wait.
connect.
Okay, bleed controls. What they want us to do is move these down.
Check and set. Hydraulic quantity. Check. EPR computer. Go around. Circuit breakers. Check. Indicator lights. Check. Electrical panel. Check and set. Air conditioning controls. Check and set. Fire control and wing overheat panels. Check and set. Equipment cooling. Check. Passenger oxygen. Check. Hydraulic panel. Check and set. Fuel jettison panel.
I'm going to leave it strictly
Tow
alone.
connected
Oxygen.
and bypass pin inserted.
On.
Release parking
Oxygen
brake.
mask and regulator. Check and emergency off. ADPs off. Checklist completed.
All right, we're good to go over there with that checklist. The next one is the after start. So we are in really, really good shape. Jetway has been pulled. We've got everything pretty good except, let's go over here. I think I have one thing to do here on ground, and we're going to have them pull the chocks.
Cockpit to ground. Remove the chocks.
So you heard John fly down there, so the tug is ready to go, and everything looks good to go. And I think we can do fuel pumps are on, chocks bleed air, APU bleed air, packs are on, standby power is normal, packs good, before start checks are ready. Let's go ahead and do a couple of cabin calls here.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. On behalf of the entire crew, welcome aboard the Boeing 747 Classic. We will depart shortly after we have our clearance and the cabin crew is finished with their preparations. For now, I wish you a pleasant flight, and I will be back during the flight with further flight information.
Okay, so we're good to go with that one. Let's do cabin message number 2.
Cabin crew, arm slides.
And this is before pushback. And let's check.
All doors are closed and armed.
Okay, we've got navigation on, beacon is on, logo lights are good. We are ready to push back. So shall we go ahead and do our pushback? It is 8:28. We are pushing back 7 minutes early. That is a good thing if you're going to be on VATSIM, if you're going to do across the pond. So that kind of back timing, we're basically in great shape. So I say parking brakes released.
Parking brake released.
And let's go.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
And as usual, there's Gate Gourmet right in the middle of freaking everything because they are such a pain in the butt. And there goes our big jet. And there's a fuel truck, and there's a baggage cart. There is nothing like these little guys out there. Okay, we are slowly out of the crew area, so I think we could go ahead and start doing engines. So let's go over here and get the hydraulics. ADP 1, ADP 2, ADP 3, ADP 4 are now on. Packs are going to go off for starts. That's good to go too. Let's go up here to the upper panel. We're going to do the starter valve
Ready
on.
to start the engines.
And we are now ready to do ground starts.
Ready for engine start.
Our first, our ground start order is 4123. So ground start system number 1. Click it and hold it until, I usually like a 4, but you'll see lights go on and listen to what he says.
Starting engine 4.
Starter valve open.
Once you hear starter valve open, you're probably good. Now let's look over here. And if you look down here, engine number 4, there is the N2. N2 is going up, just like it's supposed to. Spinning up the engines, and like all jetliners, they want you to get this thing going at about 20%, and then there's the fuel cutoff.
20% and 2. Fuel on.
And fuel goes on, and we got an engine starting.
Light up.
And so here comes an engine. There we go. And you can see EGT is now going up here on this engine. The lighting annunciator over here.
Engine stabilized.
So we got one engine's going. I think we could start another engine. Look up here. We're going to start engine number 1. System 1, ground start. Hold it.
Starting engine 1. Starter valve open.
Release. Look over here. And engine number 1. All of that's going up, so that's good to go. Let's go ahead and look down here. Having views set up is pretty good. I also like to be off to the side. It's kind of hard.
And 2.
It's kind of hard to grab some of these. So I've kind of found if you're off to the side, it helps you grab the little fuel starter valves a little bit better. Now remember, it's going to pull us forward a little bit. The main landing gear down here. So the main landing gear, these guys here, these turn a little bit. And so they're going to have us pull us forward a little bit to straighten them out. So you got to have a little forward there. Okay, time to do parking brakes. Now on this airplane, you have to put your feet on your toe brakes, push them all the way forward, and then pull.
Brake set.
Parking brake. So that's how you do that.
Stand by.
And while that's going, we're going to start engine 2.
Starting engine 2. Starter valve open.
Release. If you want, you could look down here. I usually like to. And looks like we have got engine number 2. There's our N2 going up. You'll notice that the oil temperature is going to slowly begin to rise. Oil pressure begins to rise. That's a good thing.
20% and 2.
And once we get 20% N2, look over here.
Fuel on.
Fuel goes on. We're good to go there. Starting another engine.
Starter off. Engine stabilized.
And with the stable engine, we can start our last engine. Ground start 3.
Hand signal will be on the left. We'll see you next time. Have a safe flight.
Okay, thanks for the nice push. We will look for a salute and release from guidance. That was our ground. So we're going to see the tug go out and probably be over there on the left. There's our tug.
20% and 2.
And with that, got to move a little bit over here.
Fuel on.
Fuel's going on.
Light up.
And there is the guy standing, holding up the gear pins. Salute and release from guidance. At an airplane, a salute and release from guidance is important. That means that the airplane is clear. You can roll around and you're not going to squash somebody. Okay, so we're good to go there. All 4 engines are good. Now that we got all of our engines on, we're going to go ahead and close the start valve. I'm also going to guard it. Over here, we're going to get the packs on. Keep it comfy in the cabin for the passengers. So packs are now on. Parking brake is set. Probe heaters can now go on because nobody's under the airplane. We don't want to burn anybody on the probe heaters. They get really hot. So all of those are good. We'll look over here. And now we're going to go and trip in the engine generators for the electrical system. So we go up here and generator close. 1, 2, 3, 4. If I'd wanted to be a good pilot, I would have hit the AC meters on each one of these generators before tripping them into the system like that. Engine generators are good. Now that we've done with that, we're going to look up here and we're going to go ahead and close the auxiliary power. So we're going to trip that breaker. That disconnects all of this. We're going to go ahead and do the bleed air off. So that's good to go. And the APU can go off too. And there goes the APU. So that looks good. One more look. Make sure the packs are all happy. We've got 3 packs. All 3 packs are looking nice. The fuel totalizer. This is an interesting little thing. So there is our total fuel. We're at 66.9 in terms of fuel. So one of the things to do is look over here at block weight. It's 658,620. So then we look over here and look and see this. It should be 658,620 is our current total weight, gross weight. So you got to dial that in. So 6582. So 658. 658.2. There we go. So totalizer is good. And then for some strange reason at this point in time, they want you to look up here and turn on the aft cargo heat. Aft cargo heat is good. So now we can come over here and go to this, go to checklists, and start it.
After start checklist.
Flight recorder.
On.
Start switches.
Off.
Beacon lights.
On.
Brake pressure.
Check.
Start levers.
Idle detent.
Engine anti-ice.
Off.
Electrical panel. Check. Pack valves. Open. Dual warning lights. Out. Hydraulic panel. Check. Flight recorder. On. After start checklist completed.
All right, we're good to go there. So that looks good. Let's go to the next list. And now we can do the taxi checklist. So for this, we've actually got some more things to do too. So let's go over to this and we're going to do performance. And I should have done a little bit of this to start, but you need your chart for this. And our main runway that we're going to be taking off here at Chicago O'Hare. Let's see. Why don't we try and take off from Echo Echo? Well, wait a minute. I don't have that number. So let's just do the whole thing. 13,000 foot runway. I don't know where to find that number on Jeppson charts. I have to look that up. 13,000 foot. Airport elevation at the Chicagoland area is 680 feet. So 700 is good. The runway heading for our departure is 273. So 270. And I'm not going to bother with the slope. The outside air temperature here in Chicago is 25 degrees, so 25. The altimeter is 2973. 2973. That's good. Winds in Chicago are 180. 180 at 15. Winds starting to pick up in the Chicagoland area. Now we're going to go ahead and just get the load sheet data. And we're going to temporarily set the speed bugs. With that, we've got flaps that are going to be 10 for takeoff. So flaps are here. 1, 2, 3. That's flaps 10 for takeoff.
Flaps
The
10.
stabilizer trim is 4.2. That's down here. And you almost always have to put the green band up a little bit. And then it's kind of hard to see. So we got to go and dial this to 4.2. And then the last one is this thing. It's the optimal initial pitch is 16 degrees. This is a little hard to see. So let's go over here and we're going to do flight directors on. And we're going to slide over here. And it's this guy right here. There's going to be a little yellow thing. And we're going to pitch that up to 16. 10. And that's good. That's about as good as we're going to get. All of that is good to go. I think we can go ahead and do that taxi checklist. So, checklist and start. Flaps.
Taxi checklist, please.
Flaps.
I turned on my yokes.
Flaps 10.
Takeoff data. EPR and airspeed bugs.
Damn.
Oh, wanted me to set those. So let's do performance and set those. And it probably wants this to be EPR. Let's see. I'll bet we need to set this one. Yes.
Set and cross-check.
There we go.
Stabilizer trim.
Set in green band.
Probe heat.
On.
Flight controls.
Damn.
They want you to move your flight controls.
Check.
Yaw dampers.
Check.
Seat belts and shoulder harness.
Check.
APU. Off. Fuel heat. Off. totalizer and gross weight. Set. Flight engineer and pilot panels.
Almost done. We get to
Check.
taxi in a second.
Aft cargo heat. Normal. Seatbelt and shoulder harness. Check.
There we go.
Checklist completed.
Next, we're ready to go with that. Let's go ahead and do turn off lights, and some pilots also do the inner landing lights. And then we're going to go up here and we're going to hit number 3
Cabin crew, take your seats.
and let them know we're going to start rolling the airplane around. So we're good to go here. Feet on the rudder pedals. Parking brakes
Parking
are
brake
off.
released.
And let's go ahead and start taxiing. We're rolling. Okay, we should be out at 18:35. We are. We should have been off. We should be off in 4 minutes. So I'm a little bit late now, but not bad. I just heard a cabin call.
Cabin ready.
All right, we're ready to go. All we got to do is taxi for takeoff. So this is probably going to put us about less than 5 minutes behind schedule, but we're in pretty good shape. Now, while we're doing the taxi, we can carefully set up this panel. Our departure heading is going to be 273. Cleared altitude. Let's go ahead and dial this up to our final cruise, and we'll start our turn over here. So 35,000, so that's good. So those were the last things that we needed to do there. Speed bugs are set, flight directors are on, heading bug is set, auto thrust, auto throttle speed. I generally like to go and take a look over here at the performance numbers, and I usually like to get our flaps up speed. So V2 is 147. I'm going to leave that there, but I'm going to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just a little bit of extra because of winds and stuff. Okay, don't want to go throttling too fast here. And we're just going to kind of wheel ourselves around. There's the Bravo and Charlie concourse for Eveningland. And we're kind of taxiing a little bit fast here. But, you know, we're a 747. We get to do that sort of thing. Flaps are set. Stabilizer trim, green band. Flight director pitch bug is set. EPRL mode is set to TOD. Taxi checklist is done. Let's see. The one thing I've forgotten was down here, we should go to TARA. If we're on VATSIM, you do squawk mode Charlie on all taxiways. Transponder is good. Runway turn-off lights, parking brake, throttle, and announcements are good to go too. We're pretty much ready for takeoff at this point. We do have a checklist that we're going to do in just a second. And swing it around here. So here on the 747, you see where the pilots are sitting. Right above this window here, there's two rows of passengers that are sitting in front of the pilot. One thing, if you look, the pilots, the wheel is a little bit behind us. Not far, but just a little bit behind us. Now we're looking for Lima Lima. That's going to put us over on the November taxiway. So let's get to look for Lima Lima here. And Lima Lima is a diagonal. And there it is. So there's a A16, A17, and then there's the right turn that we're going to make over here. So we're going to come around over here and swing it around. And over here. If I had the numbers, we could have just taken off from Echo Echo, which is right here, but I didn't have the numbers to put in. I have to go and find that information in the Jepson charts. That was actually the thing that got me thinking about going over to, that had me going over to the Lido style of charts. also known as ADP charts. And that was so that I could more easily find intersection takeoff numbers. Okay, so everything is good to go here. As we approach, there is our taxiway. So let's go ahead and ignition switches to air start, all 8 of them. There we go. All of those are good to go. Packs are going to go off for takeoff. So that's good. We've got flight attendants in their seats. That's good to go too. All I need to do to run this checklist is turn off the ground steering, and you're going to need that little ground steering on up until the point that we're lined up straight on the runway. And here's our runway. There's Yankee. And around we go. There's our runway. As we're coming around, maybe a little bit of braking. And we're lined up pretty good. But let's go ahead and set the latest bugs checklist before takeoff checks.
Before takeoff checklist.
Let's go ahead and do this.
Icing considerations.
Check.
Lining
Cabin
lights.
alert.
Check.
Transponder.
Check.
Ignition.
Flight start.
Body gear steering.
Disarm.
Pack valves. Closed. Pressurization mode selector. Auto. Fuel boost pumps. On. Cross feed valves. Check. Before takeoff checklist completed.
I think we're ready to go. Lights are on. Throttle's going up. Slowly, 20% first. Let's make sure we're nice and stable.
Stabilized.
We're looking for 1.1.
Thrust set.
Auto thrust on. Remember, it's a little windy here in the Chicagoland area, so a little bit of right rudder needed.
V1. Rotate.
And looking good. Climbing a little steep as I usually do on these takeoffs. There's the inner marker for the opposite runway. And let's go ahead and start our turn. Slowly around the airport. So long, Chicago. We'll be back for pizza soon. And now I kind of want to get my climb rate to about 1,500 feet per minute. Notch of flaps.
Flaps 5.
Command A. Continuing to turn around there, that's good. Flaps can go up.
Flaps up.
Continuing to go around here just a bit. Let's go 250 on the climb. And let's see, let's vertical speed the climb so it can get us out of here at a nice rate. Holding our speed, that's good. Well, 250. Okay, 060 should be nice. Let's see how we're doing there. Probably going to need a little bit more. Normally we'd be getting some vectors here. How about 090? We'd be getting vectors to help us out here. 10,000 feet, landing lights. And this is when I like to go and put 280 in here. So a little bit of a speed up. Still not doing a very good job here of getting over to the course that we want to be on to go direct to where we want to go. There, that's going to get us over on our heading. Flaps are up, that's good. Let's go back here and get fuel heat on. It wants us to have the fuel heaters on. Auto, 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 and auto. Okay, we can also go up here and turn off those the ignitions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ignitions are off. Climbing fairly nicely, that's pretty good. Okay, we're also looking at the INS system down here. Get a little bit closer to our main course headline. I think actually we can go ahead and this should, if we go to INS now, this should handle the navigation and take us right there. So this is going to take us right there. That's good. Passing 17,000 feet. Almost time to reset the altimeters. We can do this one right now. 2992. 2992 and 2992. Altimeters are reset. 2992. We are going direct to mobile, so that's good. Okay, now it looks like I'm not doing a very good job on the climb mode here. Could be I'm climbing a little bit too steeply. That's why my speed's going down. Yeah, we were climbing a little fast. Basically over here, get this down to about 1,000. I'm still using vertical speed mode. So it should be trying to hold my speed around 280. Is my speed coming up? Yep, speed's coming up. Very good. Good airplane. Bad pilot, good airplane. Let's do an after takeoff checklist.
After takeoff checklist.
Gear lever.
Hold on.
Yep, gear lever. This is an old Boeing. You want to put Boeing into the off position.
Landing and logo lights.
Up.
Hold on.
Forgot I left my logo lights on.
Ignition.
Check.
Seatbelts and no smoking sign. Check. Pack valves. This.
Pack valves should be open. Yeah, we got to get the packs on.
Open.
There we go. See all the things you forget?
Auto. After takeoff checklist completed.
All right, speed's coming up. Our climb is pretty good too. So that's nice news. Transition is good as well. Okay, so now we're climbing at about, I usually like to drop this down just a little bit more. So let's drop this down to our climb to about 500 feet per minute. We don't need to climb like a rocket here. So 500 feet per minute. There's about 500 feet per minute. Let's have it go and hold speed. Put it in climb mode and airspeed. And we're going to have this go over and do vertical speed. The climb mode We're going to put it in IAS. And then put it to 280, and that should do it. And I screwed it up. Okay, so let's see here. This is part of it that kind of escapes me. So go to vertical speed, drop this down to 500 feet per minute. 500 feet per minute, so that's good. Oh, you know what? I forgot this button right here. So get this back down to what we wanted, 500 feet per minute. I forgot this button, the altitude select button. That's good. Altitude select, that's good. And now I think we go to, it's holding us at 280. So at this point, climb mode is, I think we're good. Maybe, yeah, let's not touch things. This autopilot, like I've said, doesn't work like other autopilots. So we're climbing now fairly decently at 500 feet per minute. I can increase our speed a little bit now. Let's increase it to about 290 and see if it increases. Ah, good. We're going to climb a little faster. Oh, look at this. We're going from point 0 to 1. We have 3 miles to go. It's going to take us half a minute to get there. So 0 to 1, we've already got INS doing the INS thing. And so that's a good deal. We're going to kick that off. The auto throttle's working pretty good. Passing 24,000 and change. And we're slowly making our way out over Lake Michigan. Yeah, and leaving a lot of clouds behind there in the Chicagoland area. And we have just passed Mobile. And in fact, if you look down here, now we're going from point 1 to 2. 36 miles to our next checkpoint in the sky. So INS is being very, very good. We're not doing anything with the VORs at the moment. Our climb is perhaps a little bit slow at the moment. I could probably kick that up a little bit, but I'm still trying to perfect the way that I run the autopilot here. Let's go ahead and pick this up just a little bit more. We took off a little bit late, so in this case, I think that speed is better than climb efficiency at the moment. Remember, this is a hub-to-hub flight. We took off from United's hub at Chicago. We're going to United's hub in Washington, D.C. Chances are a good majority of the passengers that we've got down in the cabin, they're all basically going to be getting on probably another flight. And so we don't want to be late, because if we're late, then that holds up all those other flights, and that increases the costs for the airline. So this airplane, we really want to be on the ground at 2020 Zulu. So it is 1858 Zulu. Okay, we're at 300 knots. Our Mach is slowly climbing up to 24, almost 25,000 feet. We're doing pretty good here. How's everything look up here? Pretty much everything is fine. Seatbelts and no smoking remain on. Nav beacon are on. Everything else is up. I forgot to turn on the strobes. Forgot my strobes. Probe heat, window heat, all the heaters are on. That's good news. What's going on over here? So let's see. Oh, this is interesting. Fuel here, 13,360, 13,580. A little bit out of balance. Let's go ahead and open the crossfeed valves. And if we really wanted to, we could go and turn these booster pumps off. And now we're not doing any fuel boost pumps on these at all. All of this is off, and it says we're now juicing everything from here. So the number 1 and number 4 mains are good. This thing was down a little bit, and the reason is when the APU is running the airplane only, this is where the APU gets its fuel. So we got to balance this out a little bit, but we didn't use that much APU fuel, so that's good. So 13.3, 13.4. When we get this down to 13.3, we can go and pop these two on. While we're doing that, let's look over here and check our speed. We're at Mach 0.72, passing 25,000 feet. That's not bad. Going from spot 1 to 2, 15 miles to the next waypoint. How we doing here? We are at 13.4. We want to get to 13.3. So now what we're going to do is we're going to fixate on this, which is a bad thing to do. We should be looking at other things here. 1380, we're looking for 1330. 70, 60, 50, 2 more, 40, 1 more, 30. Turn the boost pumps back on, and now we've got balanced out fuel. Right now, total on the airplane, I've got 53.1 tons of fuel. I need to have 31.4. If this number is 31.4 when we land, then basically I've used the proper amount of fuel, and that is a good thing. You don't want to use too much. So we're passing 25,000 feet. It's kind of nice and smooth. I say let's go ahead and let the passengers get out of their seats. Seatbelts off. Cabin crew's going to make an announcement about that. And there we are. We are clear of Lake Michigan. This is a nicely modeled airplane. It's really good. If you look carefully, you can even see smudges around these 2 doors from jetways. This is why I made the comment about it would be really nice if they would activate this door so that we could have jetways, both jetways at airports that are equipped with them. So let's see, another thing to do is if you look here, you can see the captain's window. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 10 windows in front of the captain. That's kind of interesting. And it looks like we're getting ready to make our next turn. So if you look down here, we're now going from waypoint 2 to waypoint 3, and that's going to be 65 miles. It'll take us 8.5 minutes, 8.5 minutes to get to our next checkpoint in the sky. So all of this is good. Passing 26,000 feet. We're cruising at Mach 0.73, and it's slowly going up. According to the schedule, I have an hour and 20 minutes to get to the gate for an on-time arrival. So everything is good here. I'm probably being a little bit too conservative. I probably have been a little bit too nice about my climb. I should be climbing perhaps a little bit faster. Winds right now are 207 at 47, so we're going to be a little bit crabby here. But crabby's kind of a good thing to be. Our fuel remains nicely balanced. So fuel's balanced here. That looks good. 13.6, 13.6, 9.2, 9.2. And we got a little bit of fuel in the reserves, so that's good news. Up here, looks like the generators are in good shape. Our engines are in nice shape. Nothing's turning red, which is a good thing. If we look up here, if the passengers are whining about it being too hot or too cold, here's the different zones. So we have zone 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then the upper deck. So if we wanted to, we could turn the temperature down in the upper deck. Right now, we're at about 24 degrees Celsius. There is duct pressure, so everybody is being nicely ducted. They're being ventilated, basically. Air is going through the ducts there, so that's a good thing. And our climb is pretty good. Mach 0.74 is fairly nice. We could probably, if we want to experiment a little bit, we could go over here and we're in vertical speed mode. Let's see if we can go ahead and increase our climb a little bit. Did it increase my climb? Oh yeah, maybe we can climb a little faster. So let's climb a little bit faster. So about 1,000 feet per minute. There's 1,000 feet per minute. Maintaining 300. Our Mach is increasing a little bit better too. So that was a good thing to do. One of the things I think you're going to find about this airplane is the learning curve is huge. This thing came with 5 manuals. And you can go online there are some people over on the forums on xplane.org that have uploaded real-world manuals for this airplane. The checklists that you saw the airplane using are based on old TWA manuals and TWA flows. And so that's kind of how that works. Some other things for us to think about while we're waiting here is we're going to go to 35,000 feet. So over here on my flight notes, if you look down here, I've already gone and done the math. Right here, 35,000 feet. Our main descent is going to be down to 3,000 feet to intercept the ILS. So times 3 divided by 1,000, 96 miles is what we need for our top of descent. I'm going to add at least 40 to this because I'm always descending way too soon. Way too late, I mean, with this airplane. And we are back in the cloud zone. Uh-oh, we're leaving chemtrails. Get your tinfoil hat ready to go. Mach 0.77. So as we approach Mach 0.85, which is our cruise, we're going to have to make some changes. Right now we're just doing indicated airspeed at about 290. Our climb is just fine. As we approach our indicated Mach, though, we're going to switch over and we're going to hit the Mach button down here. That's easier to see there. We'll hit the Mach button here. And we'll also, when we get to cruise mode, we will put it in cruise mode down there for speed. We could have turned on the weather radar. I haven't turned on the weather radar. There's no real weather ahead of us. Our flight into Washington should be very nice. We left all the bad weather behind us here. Nothing to do with these. If we were on VATSIM today, we would be 122.8 here on the radio. So you dial a radio, change it. 6, 7, 8, and you can change it. And so this is how you would talk on the radio. There is over here, this is how you listen to the VHF radios. So if you want to, you turn that down. And if you want to listen to the co-pilot, you turn that up. If you want to talk on the co-pilot, you hit that button. So that's how these things work. If you want to listen to the Morse code from a VOR station, you would turn up your nav 1. And you can hear there's nothing to listen to right now. And as we turned it up, you hear static. That's pretty cool. And passing 30,000 feet, 5,000 feet to go. So about 5 more minutes and we'll be at our final cruising altitude. So what I usually do at this point is I will usually stop the video and do an edit in the middle of it to give you an idea of where we are. Here is our airplane, so we're right over the middle part of Michigan. And so probably when we get to our final cruising altitude, we'll stop the video and then about 100 miles before I start my descent. So it's not going to be that big of a break in this one as we start our way in. Here's our little progress line here, and you should have a progress line up on your indicator at the top of the screen there. Estimated time en route is 48 minutes. 47 minutes now. So that's some of the information you get off of Sim Toolkit Pro. And you can see the rain has just started in the Chicagoland area. We take a quick look over here. We've got snow in parts of Idaho, Wyoming, and Montana. So snow has started. I'm recording this video at about, what is it? It is the 11th of October. So we've already got some snow there. It's rain mixed with snow. It's not too terribly exciting. So we can come over here to Navigraph. And the next thing we're going to be doing is the Gibbs 4 arrival. Gibbs 4, at high ROI, we have to be above flight level 240. So I'll be working my way down here and trying to maintain that information, maintain those altitudes. How we doing? We are at Mach 8.3. Uh-oh, 8.3. 8.5 is when we have to switch it over to Mach. Also, keep an eye on the barber pole here. Make sure that you don't go beyond VNE, V never exceed speed. You can do that very easy. Those are very powerful engines out there. And so you can, that could be a thing. Now, generally, I've been hitting my cruise Mach about the time I hit my final altitude. So we've probably got about another 2 minutes or so to our final cruise. Now, there's another thing that we've got to do. You know, I'm not going to be able to do much of a pause on this one. Remember, we've only got 9 waypoints here. In fact, as we just went, now we're going 3 to 4. So we're doing our next waypoint here. Well, I've got, for the whole flight plan, I've got 9, 18, 19, 20, 22 whole waypoints that I've got to plug into this system. 22. So one of the things that I found, and usually on a SID, when you're coming in, those waypoints, those come fast and furious. So one of the things that I'll be doing is I will be adding in waypoints as soon as we pass a waypoint. So if we look down here, we're going from waypoint 3 to waypoint 4. Uh-oh, almost level off time. So up, Mach 8.5, hit the Mach button, hold the Mach. We don't want to go too fast here. It already got me a little bit too fast on that one. And there's the almost to our altitude horn. And it's still increasing, our Mach speed's still increasing. Now I think, and I'm not 100% sure, we're on vertical speed. I may need to switch this to Mach for climb. Oh, nope. It just turned us off, and now it should get our speed back down to hold our Mach. I hope. There's still things about that autopilot that are just not like other ones. So it looks like we're at our final cruising altitude. We can also, now that we're there, we can go, and the next thing I'll do is put it into cruise mode. Almost there. Fact is, we are so close. Let's go ahead and hit a button. Cruise mode. Now we're in cruise mode. We're holding at Mach 0.6, so I think I'm going a little bit too fast here. Let's drop this down to 295 and see if that helps. Again, it doesn't work like you think these things work, so let's see if that drops that down. I think it is. So your indicated is how you deal with Mach, I believe. Again, there's so much to learn about this airplane. I'll literally spend months learning this thing. So while that's settling down, let's go down here. So we're going between checkpoint 3 and checkpoint 4. So remember, here's all my checkpoints. We did the first 9. So now we got to go ahead and start putting in new ones. So here's my next batch right here. And as we click a checkpoint, I'm going to put a new one in. So let's go over here and first of all, make sure that's still on remote. That's still on remote. That's still on remote. So all those are good. Let's go to waypoint. Waypoint 1. And over here on waypoint 1, I've already got it set up like I was entering them before. So north. 39260. 39260. 39260. Insert. West. 79111. 79111. 79111. Insert. So there's one. Now we're going from 3 to 4. Let's do number 2. We can put number 2 in. It doesn't need that. Number 2. North. 39233. 39233. 39233. Insert. West. 78556. 78556. Insert. There we go. So I've now got the next 2 in there. I'm going to leave that at 2, go back to distance and time. We've got 18 miles to go, and we're going to do it again with the next waypoint. And that's all I'm going to do is enter waypoint after waypoint after waypoint. Let's drop this down to 290 and see if our speed drops closer to Mach 8.5. I may be screwing that up. I may not be doing that right. which is just another one of those great things that you want to hear somebody who's doing a YouTube video about how to do something admit. And it doesn't look like, it looks like it's going to hold me at Mach point 857. So we're going to use a little more fuel. Good thing I boarded a little bit more fuel. One of the things that you can do is you can use Sim Toolkit Pro like this and your map to be able to see. If you start swinging off a course crazy, then that means that you know that you've entered one of those waypoints wrong. You know, if you start to see that you're going to take a really, really big turn one way or another, you know that you've entered your waypoint wrong. But anyhow, we are here at our final cruising altitude. I think that now is a really great time for you to be able to go and catch up in terms of the things that you're trying to do with your airplane. So now is an absolutely fabulous time for us to go outside, have a look at the airplane, and I'm going to go ahead and catch up, get some fresh coffee, and look forward to seeing you in just a few minutes. Probably not that many minutes. Be right back. Hey there, welcome back. We are about ready to make another turn. And thank you for sticking with me. I know it was just a few seconds there, but that is the magic of editing. And this airplane just looks so good. And as you look down here, we're over an area where I've got ortho scenery. And I gotta tell you, you know what? Ortho scenery still looks like ortho scenery, but boy does it look good. And when you've got an amazingly complex airplane like this, it looks this good. I gotta tell you, that's what keeps me so plugged into what they're doing with X-Plane right now, and I can't wait to see what they do with the new version. I know the scenery isn't going to be all great like some of the stuff from Microsoft Flight Simulator, but wow, what an amazing airplane this is. So we have just passed yet another checkpoint, and it's time for us to get back in the cockpit and start worrying about our descent. So let's go ahead, and the first thing is I've been updating checkpoints. We are now between checkpoint 6 and 7, and so now I've entered checkpoint 4, so we can enter checkpoint number 5 on the list. So just like I've been doing here, I'm going to read a bunch more silly numbers here. So number 5, let's put that in, and waypoint is going to be 39131. 39131. 39131. Insert. West 78143. 78143. 78143. Insert. Seriously, that's what you got to do to keep all of those numbers straight. And I'm adding in, as we pass a waypoint, I add another waypoint. As I add it, as I pass, I add. Pass and add. So here's the reason why I'm doing it this way too. Here's where we are. We are coming up on the Morgantown VOR. That's a waypoint in there. And as we keep coming, you see how fast these waypoints are going to come in? I want to stay far ahead of this. Now, because I'm going to be busy also managing the descent too. So we've got to deal with all that. Now, of course, the real world pilots, they didn't have anything like Sim Toolkit Pro in the cockpit. They had this. So here's going to be our approach. So as we pass the Morgantown VOR, that is the beginning of the star. At High Roy, we want to be at flight level 240. Well, I got to look at my little list here. High Roy is checkpoint number 9. So High Roy is checkpoint number 9. And we want to be below 270 and 240. Well, we are going from checkpoint 6 to 7 right now. Oh boy, what have I screwed up here? Going between 6 and 7. 6 and 7 is Morgantown. By High Roy, I need to be between 27,000 and 24,000. Ah, see, there's a couple of checkpoints in there. There's one in there, so that's why I was freaking out for a second. It's so much easier with a modern flight management computer. Sort of like, okay, which checkpoint is this? Which one is that in the INS? It does keep you, it just keeps you hopping. So once we pass, let's see, where are we? I think we passed, we are going between 6 and 7. So we're going to Morgantown. After we pass Morgantown, I'm going to go and we're going to start our descent to flight level 240, 24,000 feet. Okay, so let's go over here, and for the descent, altitude select. Let's say we're cleared to descend, but I don't want to bust an altitude. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to put in 24,000 right now. Well, let's see, how far away from me, Morgantown? We're 19 miles. Let's go ahead. So 24,000 is going to be my first cleared altitude. 24,000 is altitude select. And notice that it's already started me down because I wasn't on altitude hold. So it's already started me down just a little bit there. So at least we're not going to bust that though. So there we go. Altitude select, climb and descend, vertical speed. It's already managing my vertical speed down there. I'm going to dial this down. I've already dialed this down to 280. Oh, and by the way, I got my Mach down to 0.85. To do that, what you do is turn off the auto throttles, use your throttle to adjust your speed, and then pop that back in. And that's kind of how you do that, or at least how I did that. So some other things that we've done on anticipation of our approach. Over here on the charts, let's go ahead and clear some of the old ones out. Okay, so we've got, there's our approach, there's the ILS. So I plugged in two numbers, 1101 and 1135. So 1101, that is the ILS. The inbound course for the ILS is 011. And over here on nav number 2, it's 13.5. That's the ARML VOR. That is going to eventually give me DMEs and let me know that those things are active. So I've gone and programmed those in too. Let's go and do another step here. Let's go to the weather, KIAD. Washington Dulles weather. Right now, winds 360 at 8. 10 miles visibility, broken clouds 1,800. It's overcast at 2,500. 20 degrees, dew points far away. We don't have to worry about any possibility of fog. And the altimeter 3005. I've just gone Control-C, and I'm going to put these in my flight notes. I keep flight notes in here. This is how I take notes for a flight. It gives me all the information that I need right in a text file. So that means I'm killing fewer and fewer trees. Because, boy, there was a time when I was just printing up stuff by a storm. Hey, we just passed a checkpoint. So let's go over here and let's do waypoint number 6. So dial in waypoint and number 6. Go over here, slide this down, number 6. Okay, is north 40020. 40020. 40020. Insert west 80490. 80490. 80490. Insert waypoint number 6 is now in. We've got 9 miles to the next waypoint. These things are going to come faster, fast and furious now. Okay, so now we need to start descending like we mean it here. So let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and switch this to speed. And speed. We need to start descending like we mean it here. Okay, there's a 2,000 foot per minute, and we're going to stop at 24,000 feet. We're also going to make sure that we don't bust any speed limits here too. And And we are about ready to go from checkpoint 7 to 8 to 8 to 9. There we go. Let's go ahead and get this next one going. So I can now do checkpoint 7 on the next list. Okay, waypoint. You know what? I think I did this one wrong. North. 3910-1. 3910-1. I did that wrong. Insert. West. 78084. 78084. 78084. I screwed that up bad. I put in the one from the last one. Let's just have a look over here at number 5. Did I screw up number 5 too? 3913-1. Nope, that one's good. Okay, so let's do number 7. Number 7 now. On a piece of paper, you could actually just, you know, draw a line through it. I didn't draw a line through these. Okay, so north. 39058. 39058. 39058. West. 78004. 78004. 78004. Insert. Looking good. Now we're going 9 to 1, so we can do another waypoint. Let's get number 8 in. See how fast these are coming? North. 39013. 39013. Insert. West. 77519. 775. Whoops. 18. Whoops. Clear. West. 7751. Clear. West. 77518. 77518. Good. There we go. Now we can do number 9. That's how fast this thing is going. Now we need to see how we're doing here as far as altitude. Not great. So let's go ahead and dial this down even more. I think we're missing some of our constraints. So I'm just going to go ahead and put it down to our final descent altitude, which is 2,000. And I'm probably going to miss those because I'm falling behind on these. You got to have 2 people in these cockpits. Okay, number 9, north. 38579. 38579. 38579. West. 77456. 77456. 77456. Good. So there we go. There's number 9. Let's dial this back to number 1. Because we're going to have to enter in 3 more after that. So I should have left that at 9. Okay, so that's good. How are we doing on our descent? We are passing 27,000 feet. We are maintaining 300 knots. Not great, not terrible. Let's see. I feel like we need to descend a little faster. So I'm going to go to vertical speed. And we're going to go down a little faster here. Probably going to pick up a little bit of speed on this one too. So I might need speed brakes, but I'm way too high. I should be between flight level 230 and 170. So we need to pick this up just a little bit. Not much, but just a little bit. How are we doing here? We are going 2 to 3, so we can go and put in waypoint number 1 now. The new waypoint number 1 should be north. 38571. 38571. 38571 west. 77374. 77374. And insert. There we go. We got 2 more to put in as we do this approach. Okay, next altitude. Flight level 180 and 140. So, and we're going a little fast now too. We're going a little fast, so we're gonna need some speed brake here. Now the other thing that we could do is instead of speed brake, we could go and disconnect the auto throttle here, and I can roll my throttles back. And that should help a little bit too. So instead of using speed brake, let's just manually control the throttles and see if our speed reduces a little bit too. Is our speed reducing? Not really. We're holding, and we're going to need to be at 280 knots for this next one. So we're a little fast, so we do need speed brakes. So hold it up. Now we're going to add some speed brake. The autopilot does not work like other airplanes here. I mean, it's, you do things ways that you don't think that you would do. So we got to get this down to 280. Yeah, 280 knots. How are we? 22,000. I'm 2,000. I'm about 4,000 feet too high right now. But we're descending quickly, so we're relatively good. And as you can see, I'm now picking up the Armel VOR. So we are 55 miles from Washington Dulles. So let's see here. We need to go to performance calculations. And we need to go to landing perf page. And we need to put some data in. First of all, the runway that we're coming in is 11,500 feet long. There we go. Airport elevation at Washington, D.C. is 300 feet above sea level. So 300 feet above sea level. There we go. Our runway heading at Washington, the one we're taking is 011. So 10. You round up a bunch of stuff. The outside air temperature at Washington, D.C. is 20. The barometric pressure at Washington, D.C. is 3005. The wind right now at the Big D is 360 at 8. There we go. There is the latest weather. Let's get the latest weather data and set the speed bugs. Now, we're going to probably change that a little bit as time goes by, but that's okay. We're making a turn. We're going from spot 4 to 5, so let's do waypoint number 2. Let's see, we did 1, so let's get number 2 in. So number 2 is north. 38512, 38512, 38512 west, 77344, 77344. Insert. And we can also do number 3, and this is the last one, north. 38380, 38380. Insert. West 77350, 77350, and insert. Back to distance and time, going to 4 to 5. And now we're done. So let's see. Hopefully the airplane is being a good airplane and following the path. It is. How's our altitude? We should, at this point in the star, we're coming up on Mosul. These are very small numbers. Maximum 250 knots and 11,000 feet. So we got to slow our speed down. 250 knots. And that's actually where we are right now. We're at 250 knots at the moment. Let's put these speed brakes away. Don't need those speed brakes. That looks good. We're continuing our descent. Altitude, we're at 15,000. We're still a little bit high. We're still a little bit high. But I'm not going to worry about that. Okay, we're still following the star just fine. 250 knots, so that's not bad. 14,000 feet, we're 37 miles out. At this point in time, air traffic control might be telling us to slow it down even more. Boy, I would sure like it if they told me to slow down to 210 about now. Then I could start throwing out some flaps. Let's get a little speed brake here going. Continuing our descent. Maybe even a little more than that. See, let's also do seatbelts. And you know what? I bet there's a checklist that we could do about now. Descend and approach.
Approach checklist, please.
See what we've forgotten now.
Seatbelts and shoulder harness.
Auto brakes to medium.
Check.
Seatbelts and no smoking signs.
On.
Anti-ice.
Not needed.
Off.
Exterior lights.
Check.
Outer brakes.
Medium.
Radio INS switches.
Hold on.
Okay, so we're still following the INS.
Radio.
But I'm going to go ahead and switch it to radio temporarily.
Check.
Brake pressure.
Check.
Spoilers.
Hold on.
Now, I'm using my spoilers, so let's go ahead and arm it.
Altimeters.
1013. Set and cross-check.
Landing data, EPR, and airspeed bugs.
Set and cross-check.
Seatbelts and shoulder harness. Check. Fuel panel. Check. Fuel heat. This.
My fuel heat is on. We need to turn it off. I'm
10,000.
setting my altimeters. 10,000 feet. Fuel heater's going to go off. 1, 2, 3. See how busy you get?
Off. EPR computer. This.
And we need to have that on go around.
Go around. Cabin altitude. Check. Circuit breakers. Check.
All right, we're good to go there.
Road checklist completed.
There we go. So that's looking pretty good. We're doing really nicely here. We are currently heading 120, so that's not bad. We've got 2 more checkpoints to go, and by this point in time, we would start getting vectors. Altitude, we have caught up on our altitude, so let's go ahead and slow this rate of descent just a little bit here. And this is going to get our speed pretty good. 210, that's not bad. How about a notch of flaps? So that looks good
Flaps
too.
1.
Flaps are 1. 210 is what we're going to be holding. So that feels pretty good. Okay, so 210. We're 22 miles from Washington, Dulles. So DC is like somewhere out there. You can see some of those slats down now. So that's looking pretty good too. Everything over here is in relatively good shape. Let's see, we passed 10,000 feet. I should have turned on my landing lights. So landing lights going on a little bit late. Let's also tell the cabin.
Cabin crew, prepare for landing.
So got to get the cabin crew prepared for landing. 210 knots, that looks pretty good too. So our speed is right on. We have two more checkpoints in the sky to go. So we're going 78. Actually, a few more than just that. You can hear them doing the announcements back there for landing. Now, if we look over here, let's see if this shows us where we are. So here we are. We're going to go to Theismann at 7, Gibbs, and then we're going to keep coming around here, and it's going to make us head straight south. So everything is in great shape. We're caught up. Our altitudes, we're doing pretty good on altitude. We should have stopped at about 7,000 feet. I'm not going to worry about it, and you shouldn't either. So this is looking great. How's our speed? Speed's not bad. Let's go over here and just hit this button one more time on the performance calculator. Okay, so here's where flaps can go out. 194, so 214. So when we go to 180, we can throw another notch of flaps out. How's everything here? So we are in indicated airspeed. We're in go-around mode. All of that looks good. Nothing really to do up there. And there's a call from the cabin.
Cabin ready.
Hey, cabin's ready for landing. How about that? 4,100 feet. That looks pretty good, too. We are about ready to make a turn from point 8 to 9. So in less than half a minute, we're going to make our turn. It's a little bit breezy out here. Probably a little bit low at this point in time, but I'm not going to worry about it. See, another thing that we should probably think about setting is minimums for landing. That's going to be 200 feet. So here's our radar altimeter, and I'm going to set that to 200. There's minimums. Okay, now we're going...
Level off.
Okay, about ready to level off at 210 knots. There we go. We're going to hold this 210 knots here until we get ready to do a turn to the south. And those are the last two waypoints that INS has got. So we're going from spot 9 to 1. And then after that, we'll do, in 3 miles, we'll start our turn. And that should turn us more south. Now, since we're in fairly close, as soon as we start our turn to the south, I'll go ahead and we can start vectoring ourselves into the runway because we're already at 3,000 feet. Well, actually, 2,000. Final plunge. I think I went down 1,000 too low. Yeah, it should have been 3. Shh, don't tell anybody. Okay, almost done here. We're 9 miles away from the airport. In fact, Washington Dulles, there's the airport right there. There's the airport. So let's start our turn to the south and get ready to turn in and come in for a landing. Nothing like a big old 747. Oops, I think somebody left their speed brakes out. I sure did. So here's the thing. Real world pilots will tell you that one of the things to do is if you've got your speed brakes out on descent, what you really, really want to do is while your speed brakes are out, you keep one hand on the speed brake handle. That way you never do what I just did, which was come in warp factor 10 with speed brakes out and the engine's pushing against that. That can be part of the problem. Okay, this is going to be our last checkpoint. So we are currently heading on a course of 150 degrees. So I'm going to dial this over to 150 degrees, and we're going to go and put this into heading mode now. So we are now in heading mode. I'm going to go ahead and get my speed down to 180. So speed down to 180, and that way I can throw out another notch of flaps. And there's a big difference between 115 and 150, as I just found out. Fortunately, I've got a little room to play with here. You see how busy you can get with this airplane? All right, all of this looks good. There's our last set of numbers for landing. Let's do checklists. Gear flaps. We're going to have to turn on the ignitions. Let's go ahead and get those done now. Okay, ignitions are good. Auto brakes are great. Speed brakes are armed. We are 5 miles out, so let's get ourselves a good 10 miles out from Dulles. Is our speed coming down? Sure is. 180. Let's do another notch of flaps.
Flaps 5.
Okay. What did the iPad say is our landing speed? Performance, VREF 134. I add usually 5 to 10. So we're going to call it 140 for VREF here, is what I want this thing to take care of for us. All right, let's also go to radio. That's going to show an ILS. There we go. There's a nice little ILS there. Perfect. All right, I think I'm going to need just a little bit of breathing room here. So let's do a little bit of reciprocal. We're going to go, all right, we got glide slope, but I want a little more room. This is a very big jet. So now we're going to go directly south. We're at 180 knots. We're 6 miles from Armel. I want just a little bit more breathing room to make this turn. We're below, okay, glide slope is now above us, so I'm going to wait till it inches just a little bit more. There we go. That's very nice. Perfect. How about 090 degrees? Directly east. I'll bet those people down there love seeing a 747 this close. We're all in it. This is also an ortho zone, by the way. So all of that is ortho scenery. And again, not photoreal scenery, but good enough for a big jet like this. Okay, so around we go. Now let's go ahead and get ourselves on an intercept course for this. Continue on around. 9 miles out. Not so bad. Or as I love to say over on the live stream, not great, not terrible. So 180, that looks good. How about another 10 degrees? We should be very close to doing an intercept here. As soon as I see that that localizer needle move.
Localizer alive.
Land. Let the airplane go ahead and do the work for you on this one. Let it snag your localizer. I got the airport, got the runway. Landing gear.
Gear down.
140 is what I wanted my landing speed to be. So 140. Let's let it go and do that speed. Here comes glide slope. And get ready for more flaps.
Gears down. Green light. Flaps 10.
We got both glide slope and localizer, it looks like. Another notch of flaps.
20.
Start the
Flaps
checklist.
25. Landing checklist.
Gear.
Down and check.
Down and check. Flaps.
Flaps 25.
Flaps 25. Ignition.
Flight start.
Anti-skid.
Check.
Altimeters. 1,
Perfect.
0, 1, 7. Set and cross-check.
Absolutely
Landing
perfect.
checklist completed.
Landing checklist is good. We are ready to land. Let's get this flashing light out of our face.
1000.
That's not going to do that. Okay, we're localizer. We're glide slope. Everything's good. Now, at this point in time, it's almost time for me to start saying things like, I think the autopilot's had enough fun today. We're on a very, very nice descent. There is the new Air and Space Museum. So going right past the Air and Space Museum. Autopilot is off. Captain's got control of the airplane. Now, unlike the Airbus, this thing, you're going to have to immediately take control. Otherwise, you're going to get too high, too low, off to the right, off to the left. So as soon as you disengage, start controlling the airplane. And a beautiful day. This is a visual landing, but I'm still looking at my ILS gauge there, particularly glide slope. You know when you're flying on a flight simulator?
Glide slope. Glide slope.
Minimums.
Glide slope.
Continue.
Glide slope. Glide slope.
And I'm a little
Glide
low.
slope. Glide slope. Glide slope.
Got
Glide
blown off
slope.
to the side a little
Glide
bit.
slope.
Let's get over here.
Glide slope. Glide
50,
slope.
40, 30, 20, 10. Check reverse.
We are not making the close in. I was hoping to make that one, but we're going way too fast.
Out, off, reverse. 60 knots.
Tap the
Auto
brakes.
brake off.
Flaps up.
Flaps up.
Speed brakes down. Welcome to Washington Dulles. Current time is 20:09. I got 10 minutes to make it to the gate. Off on the high speed. Okay, we can do some lights. I've got my flaps up. Now we're going to race right over here, and we're going to go ahead and start the APU. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, there's our gate. We're going to make it. We're going to actually arrive a few minutes early. How about that? Flaps up, speed brakes are down. APU is coming up. Next checklist. After landing.
After landing checklist.
Brake pressure.
Check.
Body gear steering.
Damn. Arm.
Outer brakes.
Off.
Ignition.
Damn.
We'll do the ignition in just a second. Stop right here for a second. Let's get through that checklist. Normally we'd have a little bit of taxi time to do all of this.
Off.
Engine and wing anti-ice.
Off.
Radar and transponder.
Standby.
Flaps.
Up.
Spoilers.
Down.
Stabilizer trim.
7 units.
Outflow valves. Open. Pressurization mode selector. Let's see. Manual. Aft cargo heat. Wait.
Now, another thing that you're going to run into, we are in a 747, and most of the gate guidance coming in, you're not going to see this guy. So get lined up here. Now the guy sees us, and it's starting to get gate guidance going in. So go outside the airplane. Now come on in. When you see the guy, release your camera. So we're going to go forward here. Airplane is slowly moving forward, but you're not going to see the guy from the cockpit. Now, like the A350 actually has a camera down here so that you can look at the gate guidance going in. But we can't see that. So we're just gently coming in here. And we're going to wait to see. There we go. And we'll wait till the guy shows up. The guy's right behind us, so he's like right here. Don't let yourself go too fast. There he is. Now release the camera. So you're stationary and the airplane's coming forward. And now we can see the guy bring us in. And again, super duper slow does it with this big bird. Boy, does that look big from standing here. And there we go. Okay, so toe brakes are on. Push your toe brakes all the way forward, and
Parking brake set.
parking brake is set. So that's good to go there. The APU is up. I've got the APU running, providing electricity. We're going to stop the engines now so we can save fuel. Because remember, I care about my fuel here. Okay, so there goes that. There is that. Jetway is coming out. Let's go ahead and turn a few things off here. And we do have the APU providing pneumatic. So air conditioning is still on. We've also got it taking care of our electricity. So that's good too. Everything's good here. Let's do seatbelts.
Cabin crew, disarm slides.
I should have done strobes, and beacon is off now too. All of my lights are off. Oh, should have turned off the probe heat. That's an important thing. We're also going to turn off the window heaters. There's everything off there. So that's good to go. Now let's look over here. Aft cargo heat is what I forgot. So aft cargo heat should go off. So let's go over here and do aft cargo heat to off.
Off. APU. Check. Checklist completed.
All right, let's go down here and secure the airplane.
All right, secure cockpit checklist. Brakes. Parked. Beacon lights. Off. INS. Hold on.
Oops. Okay, INS needs to go to, I believe, align first,
Align.
but then it's going to go off by the end of this.
Off.
Back valves. Check. Fuel boost pumps.
Uh-oh.
This.
This. Okay, fuel boosters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Off. Reserve tank valves. Closed. Hydraulic panel. Check. Oxygen. Check. Flight recorder. This.
Flight recorder. I've never had to do the flight recorder. Flight recorder is over. Where is the flight recorder is something new that I've been learning about. And I was reading about that earlier on the flight. That's over here. So flight recorder is here. Let's see. I don't know how to turn off the flight recorder. So we're going to just skip that. I haven't done anything with that, so we're going to skip that.
Emergency lights. Off. Radar.
Damn.
Off.
INS. Let's see.
And they want the INS to be off. Now, if you were going to do a second flight, you would need to go and leave it on standby, but it doesn't recognize standby. And then we'll do the radios.
Off. Radio switches. Off.
Checklist completed.
And there we are. We are at stand. We're ready. The airplane's at the gate. It is 16 after. It is 2016. The flight plan said that we needed to be at the gate here at 2020. This is an on-time arrival. We were out of the gate on time. It took us a while to get to take off, but we made it on the ground just fine. So this number, the out time, we managed the out time. So that's good for VATSIM. Our on time doesn't really matter to VATSIM, but that was good too. The last thing that I want is remaining fuel. It needs to be 31.4 or more. This is where I'm afraid that I probably busted the fuel, but let's see what happened. So we're going to look down here, and remaining fuel is 27.5. It should have been 31.4. And I even boarded an extra 2,000 pounds of fuel. So what happened? I think what happened was I was climbing way too fast, and I wasn't managing my my fuel very well. And so I think that that's what the problem was with those. I'm turning off flight directors. So I think that's what got me into trouble as far as those sorts of things. Let's see, we can look over here, and now that everything is secured, we could go to payload, and we should have gone deplane and unload. So 271 passengers, and all of our cargo is being unloaded. But really, at this point in time, I would say we probably made it. Used a little too much fuel. Out on time, on early, that's not bad. So those are some of the things that you need to kind of balance here. Again, with this type of an airplane, I really suggest using the Agent Bravo 7 method of copy and paste all of your waypoints for the INS in. Separate them 1 to 9 because you've only got 9 spots within the INS that you can program your data in. I also suggest that you use one of these things here. This is your your to-do list. I definitely suggest a good to-do list here because the airplane is that complex. Hopefully, I didn't leave you behind on all this. Oh, you know what we could do? We could also go over here. Let's go over here. We ought to go and do a replay. This is, after all, X-Plane. Let's see how the landing looked. Let's see how bad this looked. So here's a nice little descent. And there's the airplane Not bad. That's something about X-Plane that we get to do. We get to do a nice landing. And we're fairly well good. We're doing pretty good. How's this? Oh, look at that. A little bit of a bounce over there on the right wheel. I'll call that great. Just fine. I'll say that was a good landing. Not bad at all. Not a bad landing at all. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to look at here is, let's look here at my landing rate. It was a minus 262. I'm going to hit finish the flight, and there we go. And that's how you do it. That's at least how I do it. There, in the middle of all of this, I also had the flight manuals open on this flight. Oh, the showers have really started in the Chicagoland area. So we got rain there for sure. But no, this is sort of the way that it works for me. And hopefully that's the way that works for you as well. I hope that this helped. These are a lot of fun to do. If there's an airplane that you'd like to see me do one of these cold and darks, I hope you'll put a comment in the chat there. Again, not the right way or the wrong way. It's what got me up in the air and down on the ground. Of course, please leave your questions in the comments section. I'm still new on YouTube, and I will answer all the questions that I can. May even do a whole video on that too. The YouTube channel is not big enough for monetization, but if you liked it and you want to support, come on over to Twitch. And you could subscribe there. We do group flights pretty much every day of the week except Monday. That's when I record videos like this. So Twitch TV, 757 Spy. I've also got some spy stories over on Amazon if you care about that, but we can talk about that later. I'm going to say a big thank you for watching this video. I hope your airplane is flying well too. And I will look forward to seeing you in the friendly skies over on Twitch. Take care.